Okay, guys, here we go. We're going to go ahead and continue on with our lecture in protective equipment, and we're dealing with SCBA recently. This is continuing on with SCBA and all the factors involved with it. So the medical factors affecting use of respiratory protection, neurological functions, any kind of neurological functions that would keep us from actually functionally wearing and moving around with the apparatus, which is again is heavy, would be a reason that we couldn't do this job or use that. Musculoskeletal conditioning, cardiovascular condition, respiratory system, cardiovascular system, they go hand in hand. And if one's not working well, the other's not working well. And this is going to be very taxing. Wearing this SCBA, just the weight of it alone is going to be very taxing on the body. Plus, the breathing aspect of it is really challenging. And respiratory function, inability to breathe functionally properly, is definitely a challenge. The few times, the times I've used it on the job, you definitely it's a very unusual feeling to use an SCBA because you don't have the free flow of air around you. You don't have this feeling of just being able to take in and breathe when you need to. The SCBA kind of blocks that feeling, and so there's a lot of psychological issue that goes along with this as well. We'll talk more about that as we go along. Mental factor affecting use of respiratory protection, adequate training and equipment use. Somebody made one of the questions was, training, how does it, benefit you in the use of SCBA, understanding it, and basically said, I don't know. But the fact of the matter is, SCBA is there's a lot to it and a lot we need to understand. So if we have adequate training, we fully understand it. And this goes beyond just putting it on and breathing in it. This also goes into understanding all the parts like you were looking at just the other day in your diagram. Understand what those parts mean, how they work. When you're using it, how do you actually get out of bad situations with it on? Are there ways to take it off so you can slide through tighter spaces? If you get to a low air pressure in there and you have a ways to go yet, there's breathing techniques to kind of manage what you have left. I can use my bottle and the quick release adapters to actually hook up to somebody else and provide them air. So there's a lot of things we need to understand. It's not just simply the parts of the bottle and how to put it on. You need to understand all the emergency safety features of it as well. Self-confidence is a big part of this. If you don't have self-confidence in your abilities and your understanding of the SCBA, then you're going to have some pretty bad limitations. And emotional stability, just hyperventilation. Think about that in one instance, okay? Just an emotional issue where you're hyperventilating. You can't breathe. No matter how much air you have coming into you, you feel like you're suffocating. And this is not the moment you need to feel that. Limited visibility is another limitation, and besides the fact the mask is going to fog up in most cases, you are limited in your visibility. Your peripheral vision is kind of diminished. You can't really see below to your feet, and even above you with your helmet hanging over the top. Your field of vision is right in front of you, and you really have to move around and search to kind of be able to see everything. So this limited visibility is something you have to be aware of. Decreased ability to communicate. We are muffled beyond belief. Words that come out don't sound right. We scream and yell at each other, and a lot of hand gestures, poking and prodding and pushing each other just to make sure we get attention so we can see eye to eye what it is we're doing. This is why we are so confident in the different tasks that we do because, I can pretty much, tap on someone, point to a direction, and we know what we should be doing when we're there. It's lacking the ability to communicate verbally anymore. Increased weight. These things are heavy. Okay. They definitely are heavy and cause some fatigue over time, so you got to be prepared for that. And decreased mobility is definitely another concern. Limitations, physical conditioning of the user. If you are not physically fit, you are going to suck that bottle dry very quickly. So you need to be physically fit to be able to manage the airflow in there as long as possible. Degree of physical exertion, same thing we just discussed. Near emotional stability, condition of the apparatus, cylinder pressure before use. Was it full or not? I mean, it should be full before. Sometimes there may be a small leak and we actually lost them over the day and we didn't realize it till we're actually in, fighting that fire. Now we know we have a limited air supply. Training, exercise, and use is all stuff that we can help to minimize limitation. Or again, if we didn't get enough training, we don't have we have a limitation to our understanding of the SCBA. So air management, we got to make sure that we can manage what we have. Air supply left after low air alarm sounds may not allow enough exit time. So we kind of pay attention to how much air we have. There's gauges all around us. And that gauge can tell us, when we're 50% of the bottle left, we've got 25% of the bottle left at a certain point. We know we have to start turning around to get out. Compile or comply with accountability system in use, maintain situational awareness, and manage your air supply. What we mean here is, like I mentioned early on, you guys heard me say this, you'll hear me say this over and over again: two in, two out. I do not go in without my partner with me, and I do not leave without my partner unless for some unusual circumstance that requires a rescue later. So we actually abide by this two in, two out. So if me and someone from class decide to go in and we're doing our job, and that person that's with me, my partner, their bottle goes low and they need to leave, but I still have 50% left. I have to leave with them. Okay, we both go together. Responsibility for safety rests with the firefighters. It's our responsibility. The two of us together. It's our responsibility to oversee each other's safety. No points of no return. This is basically we've gone too deep, and if we hit a spot where we are low air, then we will not get out in time. So we've hit our no return point. Know how much air is available. Make conscious decisions to stay or leave when air is down to 50%. So at that 50% mark, we have to start making those decisions. Are we too deep? Are we going too deep? The point of no return. And know our physical limitations to all that, and then say, okay, you know what, we have to bail out now, or we've got another 5 minutes, keep going. Decisions to stay or leave made by supervisor and is a team decision except for catastrophic events. Like I was just saying, we get something bad that happens, part of the building collapses, then we're out. We get out. And if I go out with my partner, but if my partner is the one trapped, then I'm exiting so we can get help to them as soon as possible. Firefighters should never leave team in hazard zone unless supervisor permits. Check for minimized air supply, maximum air supply. Beginning of every shift, we go through our SCBAs. We take a look at the bottle pressure, the pass device, the alarm systems, all the hosing, the face mask, or the mask we use, the regulator. We turn it on. We make sure the bell's charmed. We make sure that air is free flowing and that all the valves and every aspect of it works. When donning SCBA and opening cylinder valves, we check there while working. We are always checking it during egress from hazardous zones. It's going to be reassessed again. And when replacing cylinders, we're getting a quick eye check on the whole thing, make sure it's working properly. Air purifying respirators. These are different types used in atmosphere contained normal levels of oxygen, but contaminated with airborne particles. So you've probably seen some of these online, and some things that are being put out there on social media, and people may be walking around with some of this stuff because of COVID right now. These are not SCBA. These are canister type filters on masks. They do work well. They're still pretty expensive and kind of outdated in some cases, but they are still available out there. Most basic type of surgical type filter mask would be what you're seeing pretty much out in the grocery stores, the cloth masks or surgical type. More sophisticated models have air purifiers, filter canisters, or cartridges. Self-contained breathing apparatus, SCBA, must be used in atmospheres that are oxygen deficient, contained with smoke or toxic chemicals. Remember, some departments actually monitor the air. If the air is low in oxygen, then we have to have our SCBA on. And again, if we can not determine that, or we have reason to believe it may be low, we're wearing it anyways. Two types of SCBA out there, the open circuit and closed circuit. Now we use this closed circuit. That's what you guys are looking at. The open circuit is a very expensive system. And what this actually does is filters the air around you, allows you to rebreathe the air that you actually have. So it actually lasts longer, but they still haven't completely perfected these perfectly, and they are still on the expensive side and heavy side as well. So they're not necessarily used very often. So closed circuit SCBA, open circuit airline, equipped, most often used in shipboard operations, extend hazmat incidents, and some rescue operations. So we can go longer periods of time using the same apparatus as it filters its own air continually and rebuilds that oxygen for you. Auction open circuit airline equipment is basically the SCBA that we're talking about, where we actually have a bottle full of air, and it is actually continually being used until it is dry, and then we have to rechange that whole thing. Okay. So, guys, that is it for this one. You should have taken your notes as you went through that, and there will be a short worksheet for you guys to work on with this as well. The diagram you guys went over, I'm going to kind of work with you on that distantly. You'll see how that works. We'll kind of break that diagram down, make sure everybody's got everything that's right. Okay, that's it. You guys have a good day. Take it easy.